let's talk about what else starts on Tuesday. The NBA season starts on Tuesday. I'm sure that you are just happy as a clam right now that we're getting some basketball starting up again. What are you looking forward to? What do you think's going to happen with this season? Are there any futures? Are there any win totals or anything like that that you're looking at?
Yeah, Higgins, I think those are great questions. The NBA is kind of one of those leagues where it's very difficult to fade the favorites. You play a ton of games. At the end of the season, the cream rises to the top, right? So,
Yep.
uh, I would say if you're looking for a long shot future, the one I'm on is my guy Josh Giddey. You've heard me mention him throughout the draft process. You're going to hear me talk about him all season long. Josh Giddey plus 1600 for rookie of the year here on the East Coast, Higgins. Although I see now, looking at our rundown, that you got unbelievable odds out in Oregon.
I
So
was going to
I
tell
may
you.
have to phone a friend here, Higgins, but I'm going to play a half unit down on this plus 1600. It's good value. I think Cade Cunningham, Jalen Green, they're amazing talents, Higgins. Could they win Rookie of the Year? Absolutely. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying a guy that's got an equally as good shot is down there at plus 1600. So, do I think he's the only one that can win? No. There are a lot of talented players in this draft class. Jalen Green and Cade Cunningham, the top two picks among them. I don't think Evan Mobley has a realistic shot. Too many front court players in Cleveland. But Josh Giddey sneaks into the top six there, Higgins. And I think he's got something to say.
Do you want to hear the names ahead of Josh Giddey in Oregon?
I'd love to hear some names in Oregon.
Well, so it's Jalen Green at plus 200, Cade Cunningham at plus 300. Then it's Jalen Suggs plus 750, Evan Mobley plus 900, Alperen Sengun plus 1300, Scotty Barnes plus 1400, and Davion Mitchell at plus 1800 before we finally get to Josh Giddey at plus 2500. So Oregon's sleeping on him a little bit.
Yeah, actually, Seguin's an interesting one, Higgins, for us to talk about. Another player that's played professionally before. He was in the Turkish league, which is an elite league to play in, and he shot the ball very well at summer league. Now he's on the Rockets, so I think if someone walks away from the Rockets with the Rookie of the Year, probably Jalen Green. Also have another capable rookie scorer in Joshua Christopher as well, a highly touted recruit. Up and down season at Arizona State wasn't so great all the time, but again, big scorer on the AAU circuit. So you never know. Maybe the way the NBA flows, a little more prone to scoring than college basketball. Maybe it opens up some lanes for him. But that was an interesting name that stood out to me of the names you listed ahead of Giddy.
I agree. It was a name that I didn't expect to see there either. To have two Rockets players there. I mean, I think of Rookie of the Year. You got to think of a team that has to exceed expectations. The Rockets' expectations, I guess, are low enough. It's easy to exceed them. That a Rookie of the Year could come from there. But I want to see a team that maybe gets into fighting for a 10 through 8 spot in their conference, or a team that's even potentially in the playoffs where rookie's a key piece of it, in terms of what I'd be looking for a rookie of the year. I have other one other prop or future that I found that I really liked. So Stephen Curry coming back, he is the heavy favorite to be the 3 points leader this season at minus 180 in Oregon. However, he is not the favorite to be the leading scorer. He is behind Bradley Beal and Luka Doncic. So Steph Curry at plus 600, I think is actually some pretty good value as long as he stays healthy. I think, and maybe I'm just riding the hype of the fact that he scored 41 points in a preseason game the other day, looks to be back to his old ways. He gets his Splash Bro Clay back, which is going to take some of the defensive heat off of him as well. Who knows? It'll be interesting to see, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Warriors make an interesting push this year with a lot of their pieces back again. And Steph, if he returns to the old Steph that emerged onto the scene and broke those records, he's running away with that scoring title as well if he just smashes a 3 point record again.
Yeah, I think Steph is a good dart throw there. Leading the league in scoring is so tough to do. It really is throwing darts, in my opinion. But
Yes.
I think if I had a dart, I'd want it to be Steph Curry. Two other names I'd look at as well, and I don't have their odds up in front of me, Higgins. I apologize, but Trey Young would be a player I'd look at. Team is going to be
Ooh. Trae Young's
competing
plus
for.
2,800 here.
Yep, he'll be competing for a division title, so trying to get one of those top four seeds. And his team might be good enough to just be competing for that other home court seed as well. But I don't think good enough to be a 1-2 seed. So I think they'll be in play the whole season. Another team, similar situation, but I just expect a bigger role. Jason Tatum, a guy who I truly believe is going to develop into a top five player. I think he's already at that 7, 8, 9 range, Higgins, which means that top five is coming very, very soon, very, very quickly. Bradley Beal, unvaxxed. Again, not a scientist here, but I would just bet against that. And then I forget
Bradley
the.
Beal's actually the favorite in Oregon, which
Yeah, well,
surprises me for a very similar reason.
he's
Yeah.
the favorite in New Jersey too, Higgins, on multiple sports books. So people expect him to need to score for the Wizards to do anything, which I agree with that statement. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
might have to miss some games. I don't know. Not a
Tatum's
doctor.
odds to what you said. Tatum's at plus 1,000 in Oregon, tied with Joel Embiid. And both of them sitting right ahead of Giannis, who's at plus 1,400, which is an interesting name to throw out there as well. But if you're going to pick a single name compared to a single team, it really is a dart throw because you're betting on not just a player to have an outstanding season, but to stay healthy, to stay in contention, to be able to do all of these things. And so I agree, it's a dart throw, but we're each making a futures play. But we also have some plays for the individual games starting off on Tuesday night, don't we?
Yeah, no, I'm excited for Tuesday night. Two great games: Nets, Bucks, Warriors, Lakers. Higgins, what more could you want as an NBA fan? For my play, Higgins, I'll say this: I don't trust teams on banner night. It's something that was often talked about to me in coaching. It's the team playing you on banner night is motivated. They just watch you get your rings. They're pissed off that this game is taking so long to start. They're pissed off that you're the champ and they're not. It does not always play out like this, right? But that's the narrative I've always been told. That's the narrative I've always been told from coaching as well. Um, so I'm just going to take Brooklyn in this spot. They are minus 102 in New Jersey. So slight dogs, I guess you could call them. Although both teams being minus money never really feels like anyone's a dog. Truly a more of a pick 'em.
Hey, I
But
mean, they're truly even in Oregon, so I'd say you got better odds.
there you go, Higgins. I found an edge
Yeah,
just
found
by
the edge.
living in this state. How about that? But yeah, I would say Brooklyn in a pick 'em here is the side to be on, based on narratives. Higgins, not so much real fact. It's just people say it. I believe it. If the coaches believe it, if the players believe it, like I'm gonna buy into it too.
I understand that. I understand that. I was going to stay away from that game, though, because I'm not sure how much I buy into the ring hype, at least. And also the Nets being without Kyrie Irving still, and for until he gets potentially vaccinated, who knows. It'll be interesting to see how the Brooklyn Nets play without him, although they did have to play without him quite a bit the past 2 seasons still. I'm looking at the other Tuesday night game, though, in the NBA, Brett. The Warriors are traveling down to face off against the Lakers, and typically I'd be worried about a Lakers team like this that has a ton of new pieces, that is really new and unfamiliar with each other, except these guys, they are all longtime vets, have played with each other in different spurts elsewhere. I think it's going to work out really well. I think it's going to be really tough for the Warriors to maybe adjust, especially since they are going to be dealing with the same fault that they really had to deal with last year, which was they are still missing the big man. James Wiseman is still growing into the big man they need him to be potentially, but right now they don't have that guy down low. And so Anthony Davis, he doesn't have anyone to really contend with him except for maybe I guess Draymond Green, but that's not nowhere in size comparison. So I'm gonna back the Lakers at -4.5 at home in their home opener in the season opener at the Staples Center.
Yeah, I think that game's going to be very exciting to watch. I'll say this, Higgins, and we spoke about it a lot leading up to that one game elimination game between these two. If there's one guy I don't want to bet against in a single game, it's Steph Curry. So, that's the guy you think is going to lead the league in scoring. Maybe a nice little hedge play here, or maybe screw it. He leads the game in scoring no matter what, and his team just doesn't come through for him. And you get both wins there, Higgins. A nice little scoring bump to start the year, and a nice little 4.5 point cover.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's hard for me to transition from saying I think Curry could be the scoring leader to thinking the Warriors are gonna lose on their opening night potentially, but I really think the Lakers home opener, Staples Center, LeBron with Carmelo, with that full new unit and everything, and like I said, Davis James Wiseman, I don't know if he can really compete with Anthony Davis yet. It'll be hard. It's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be very interesting. But Brett, those are the only two games we have on Tuesday. We have a bunch of more games on Wednesday night, and we are on two games apiece. So we're on three games total on the NBA home openers.
Lots of games being played between Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday. Everyone will open up their season. Yeah, Higgins, I think one of the big games on Wednesday night and not being talked about enough, at least in gambling circles, I think this should be a huge story. The Wizards travel to the Raptors. Uh, Bradley Beal's got to go through all his testing and be good, and got to go through customs and deal with all that mess. I don't know what extra protocols are in due to the Canada stuff. It's very confusing
It's
to
an
me,
extra
but
thing.
it seems like extra stuff that I wouldn't want to deal with. But also Higgins, and I think this is the biggest story. This is what I was hinting at. The Raptors played in Tampa last year. Welcome back to Toronto. Opening night. It's been a year since we've seen you. We didn't even really get to celebrate the championship season. That season was all convoluted and we went to Orlando. So, it's been like 2 years since we've had games in Toronto, Higgins. Just give me the Raptors. Give me the Raptors all the way up to 10, 15, 20. I don't care what the spread is. I get it at a nice, easy 3.5, Higgins. But I would take that spread up to 1 million because that crowd is going to be raucous. They want their team. It's been literally almost 2 years since a game has been played in Toronto that has taken place between two NBA teams.
Well, and we saw the impact that it had for a team like the Toronto Blue Jays when they finally got to return. They made quite the late season push in baseball. They did not quite make it to the playoffs. It was a very competitive AL East, but the Blue Jays were a very competitive team as soon as they were able to get back into Toronto and get back home. So I agree. I like that pick as well. I'm going with a different home opener, though. Madison Square Garden, Knicks hosting the Celtics. It's a classic. It's fantastic, and it's a revenge game because Kemba Walker gets to play against his old team. Not only that, but the Celtics are going to be playing their season opener on the road without Jaylen Brown. He's already listed as out. I'm going to be backing the Knicks, a young team that played remarkably well already last year and exceeded expectations. Now they got Derrick Rose and Kemba Walker, two veterans that can bring a lot of experience and composure to these two squads and to whoever's on the court at the time. I think I really like this. It's a -1, slight Knicks favorite. I mean, you look at the money line; it's -120 and +100. So I'm just going to take the spread -1 because I think the Knicks are going to win, and I want to take the -110 odds.
Yeah, Higgins, I like everything you said, but I wouldn't be doing my job. I wouldn't be providing our listeners their insight if I wasn't honest, right? And
Yeah,
look, I like everything you said. I agree. Kemba in the Garden in a revenge game. I love that. I think Julius Randle took a great step forward. But Julius Randle was playing almost 7 points above his per game average over 7 years. So, look, I'm not saying Julius Randle isn't better in year 7, right? I do think he's better. I think he's a improved player. He was second team All NBA, but maybe a little regression towards the mean there. Maybe a little regression towards the mean in his rebounds per game. He was about one over there, so maybe, zero point 0.3 rebounds less per game. He gets his hand on one less rebound in a few games. Uh, so look, I'm not saying Julius Randle completely comes back from this 25 a game score, but what if he's 22-9? That's still a really good player, but it's not the player he was last year. And I'm also buying big on Jason Tatum. So it'd be hypocritical for me to say they can't beat the Knicks. But that's
hypocritical.
hypocritical if I said they couldn't beat the Knicks. But
I mean,
I'm
I picked
staying
Curry and
away.
the Lakers. Okay, okay.
I'm just a big believer, Higgins. I'm a
Fair
big
enough.
believer. I think 3 teams can make it out of this division. And unfortunately, I don't think the Knicks and the Raptors make the cut. I think it'll be Philly. I think it'll be Brooklyn. I think it'll be that team up in Boston, Higgins.
All right. Well, it'll be interesting to see. Also, Kemba Walker from New York City. It'll be his home opener in his home city. I'm expecting to see something special from him. And who knows, the young squad, maybe they can alleviate some of that pressure off of Julius Randle, who performed so far above those expectations, like you said. But Brett, we each have two other picks going on in the NBA. I'm taking a West Coast game, but it's a late night game, so I'll save that one for last.
All right, Higgins. Well, I'll take the game that no one's watching. Bulls at Pistons. No one's going to turn this one on, Higgins. I like what the Bulls have done over the last half season and off season here, trading for Vucevic at the deadline, adding Lonzo Ball, adding DeMar DeRozan, keeping Kobe White. Patrick Williams may probably not going to be able to play in this one with a hand injury. Probably going to miss most of the first month here in October. Sometime he'll be back in November. But basically, long story short, what I'm trying to say here, Higgins, is I like what the Bulls are doing, and the Pistons are still a few years away. They are now on the Cade Cunningham timeline, which stinks for our guy Jeremy Grant. Probably going to get moved this season at the deadline. Hopefully, he has a very good first half of the year, so a contender is all in on adding our guy. But Jeremy Grant's a good player. Cade Cunningham's a really good player. I like Sadiq Bey. I like Isaiah Stewart. I think the Pistons are building something. I just don't think they're there yet. I think the Bulls are a team that view themselves as a competing team, and they need to come out strong on opening night. They have no time to kind of gel. They got to start gelling right away because this front office was aggressive at the deadline. They were aggressive during the offseason. They gave up on developing projects like Laurie Markkinen, who I think ended up in Cleveland also as part of that front court mess that I hate. So I am a big believer in the Bulls, Higgins. I think they got to start and they got to start strong.
Yeah, and also to your pick with the Bulls here, the Bulls aren't coming into the season with anyone on their injured list. The Pistons already have some injuries coming in to start the season. I mean, they got Chris Smith with a knee injury who's listed as out, expected to be coming back to practice soon. Isaiah Livers is out. Sadiq Bey is an ankle injury where he's listed at day to day. Cade Cunningham is listed at day to day with an ankle injury, but is expected to still be making the debut. And you also got Magruder, who has a hip injury and is questionable, listed as day to day. I mean, you don't want to be on the rebuilding timeline already coming into a season injured. I entirely agree with your pick.
Yeah, and I guess I was wrong. I guess it's Kobe White who might be out, not Patrick Williams. So I had the wrong young bull who was hurt. So my bad. But Kobe White probably not playing in this one. Patrick Williams probably playing. So that's good to know.
Yeah, the Bulls are hopeful to have Kobe White back in mid-November, is what the timeline is saying of the injury report. So, but they'll be without him. Picked up some pieces that'll replace him until he's back at least. I'm looking at a late night game of a game that's going to have a lot of people's attention on Wednesday night. That's going to be the Denver Nuggets and the Phoenix Suns in Phoenix. And I'm going to take Denver +6 here, Brett. And it's because I really liked what I saw from Denver last year. And they're going to be having Murray returning, hopefully. And so +6, I think this is going to be a closer game. And we saw the issues that DeAndre Ayton had last year in the playoffs and during the season when he was facing off against a team that had an actual center he had to contend with for a full game. He has to contend with the reigning MVP. Jokic is going to be a big task for Ayton on his home opener. So it's going to be tough for DeAndre Ayton to be included. I think +6 might just be a little too big for this game. Maybe the Suns still escape with the win. I just think it's too big.
Yeah, +6 seems like a big number. But yeah, I mean, you mentioned Murray could be back at some point this season. He won't be back for a while, Higgins. So this team will still be, featuring Aaron Gordon, featuring Jokic, featuring Michael Porter Jr. They're hoping he can take a step forward this year as well. I think Denver's really talented, like you said. The number 6 seemed too big for me to be on either side here. I like Phoenix. I like what they did last year. I think they were a slightly overachieving team. So I'm with you on this side, Higgins, but I'm not betting this game. I'm going to let you take Denver, take the +6, and hopefully you bring home a winner.
And we also saw what it looked like with the Phoenix Suns when Saric tore his ACL in the playoffs, and they're going to be without him for a little bit too. That's going to hurt their front court as well. So it'll be interesting to see what Phoenix looks like in their home opener, with that being their only person on their injured list. I mean, Denver, they have a few guys listed day to day, nothing too big. Everyone seems like they're expected to play. But there's also the whole COVID thing that people got to be aware of with the NBA because there's no mandates for players. There's some players with very strong stances against it. And so who knows? Some players might catch it. Some players might be out for extended periods. That is something to keep on the keep an eye on this NBA season potentially. Who knows?